Let's go ahead and build an agent to see what that's like and why we would want to do that. So you could click on your little app switcher, and then in here, you should see an option for Studio. So we go in here, this is pretty much the agent builder. It's actually fairly straightforward. You go to your agents, and then you click on create an agent. You can create a Rovo agent or a virtual service agent. 99% of the time, it's probably gonna be a Rovo agent. Virtual service agents are for customer support with Jira Service Management. So I'm not gonna cover that because it's a little bit more specific, but same principles apply. So literally, we're gonna type in what we want it to do. I want you to create a comment that says, in progress, every time I summon you. We'll do something funky here. But the goal here is to have a predetermined set of actions or things that we want it to accomplish. It doesn't have to be a predetermined outcome, because then we could just use an automation, for example, a field change. But if it is something that needs some kind of context or information to make some form of a decision, that's when Rovo is going to be the best. So I'm going to say, yes, that's a great name. It's going to give me some other information. Now let's create 3 conversation starters that we might use to summon. Mark this as in progress. Shouldn't be marking it as in progress, just a comment. I'll say start process to keep things simple. So we'll have 1 conversation starter. We'll just leave all 3 actually, but you can have 1. And that's pretty much it. You could keep typing here and saying, hey, I want you to do this. I want you to do this. Honestly, I like to start here and I like to see what it spits out. So we could go ahead and review the agent. And then in here, we could go and configure it. But I've actually found it to be best to go to, and Claude seems to do this best, but I will give Claude the exact things I want Rovo to do. And I will say, hey, Claude, generate a prompt that I can give Rovo to actually utilize. Because when you create agents, and this is the big reason I never found success with it and the way that I kind of use it now, is that you have to prompt very, very specifically with Rovo. It just does not get prompts very well. It's kind of maybe a year or 2 behind the current AI tools, where it was kind of very nuanced and you didn't get great responses without a ton of context and great context information on like adding in, you are a great copywriter, give me the best copy in this style. Now it just kind of infers that information, especially Gemini is really good at that. But Rovo's just not quite there yet. So we do have to get a very precise instructions. If I go back to scenarios and the default one, so here's the literal prompt that it gave me based on what I was chatting it with. So you just go in here, you delete it, you replace it with what Claude gave you or any other AI app, and you're good to go. And the next thing here is to add skills. You don't have to add skills because Rovo can still take action. What I find useful is to add the skills that you only absolutely need, because it'll get confused and try to pick things that you may not need. One great example of that is to create a work item. So there's 2 different options for that. There's create work item, and then there's create Jira issue with advanced configuration. Doesn't make any sense why this is like this. Create work item will literally just give you a summary. This one will give you actual fields, values, etc. So if you're choosing one and you need context other than just a summary, choose this one. Do not choose this one. And then same thing with like, if you don't want it to pull or get certain information, don't use like, create sprint doesn't make sense here, log work. That way it gets less confused. That's kind of the idea here. Honestly, this is all kind of useless. It should all just, if I say create a work item, it should pull the skill automatically without having to associate it. I think this really only exists because Rovo's not as well developed, if I'm being completely honest. I think these skills should be just automatic within the tools. And then whenever I prompt Rovo to do something, it should infer really well and create it for me. I think that's coming, but as of today, this is where we're at. There's also connected apps, which is kind of cool because you can send information, receive information, check information. Very cool. A lot of these do not work very well. I'll be honest. I haven't found any success with any of these tools yet. I think they will get better. Pretty much everything that I've done with Rovo has been inside of Atlassian and not outside. Again, test this out, see if it works for you. The use cases that I had that would save me legitimate time have not worked. Real quick, I've implemented Jira for over 200 companies. By far, the #1 reason teams reach out to us is because they built what they thought was a great solution, only to realize that nobody actually ended up using it. And if that sounds familiar, that's exactly what we help you fix. We're currently taking on new projects 4 to 6 weeks out. And if you want help implementing Jira in a way that your team will actually use, hit the first link in the description below.